Got my first deal at 17, and again, your first one's the hardest.
A lot of property investors on social media show off some incredible property deals that they've got going on, and they're doing such a good job. But how did they actually get started? What was the very first property deal that they did?
Bought it, renovated it, sold it, and made how much profit? £26,000 profit, is that right, Ollie?
Well, in this video, I sit down with 4 property investors and ask them about exactly that, their very first property deal.
I remember completing on it. Somebody asked me, when did the builders start? I was like, I don't even have any builders. Like, who do I call first?
And if you are just getting started in property, then I have just created a property fundamentals course that I want to give away completely for free for anybody who wants to learn more about how they can get started in property, from how to set up their company, property finance, the type of strategies that they should be investing in, and a whole bunch of other stuff. If you want to find out about how you can get access to this free, valuable course that I'm creating, click the link in the description to get started. But for now, let's jump into the video.
How old were you at that point?
17.
17 when you
when I
first
bought
jumped
my
into it.
first house. I got my first deal at 17.
Yeah.
And again, your first one's the hardest.
What was that one? Talk me through that one. First deal.
The first deal was in Birmingham. It was on the Maryvale Road, and I was 17 years old. And what happened was, at the time, I was basically finding deals just to create goodwill. So I was on these property courses, and I was finding potential deals, and I was literally just passing them on to investors who were also on the course and just saying, here's a good one, just to try and be valuable.
Yeah.
In my mind, I'm thinking, I don't want to make any money. Maybe they'll let me manage it. Maybe I'll be able to do a rent to rent on it or something. But I just wanted to be respected and accepted and valuable to the community. And I was thinking, when I turn 18, I'm going to start buying houses myself. I'm going to use at the time, this was like a long time ago, when you could buy a house with a loan with Mortgage Express. You could buy it below market value and then refinance it the same day. So this was like ages and ages and ages ago. And I thought, when I turn 18, then I'm going to clean up, do it myself. And a mortgage broker said to me, you do realise that to get a buy-to-let mortgage, you've got to be 21. And I was like, oh, damn. So now I'm thinking, I'm not waiting 4 years. At the time, as a 17-year-old, 4 years feels like a lifetime. So that was when I thought, how can I creatively get something before I'm 21? Which was the idea of finding somebody to partner with, or find someone, a guarantor or something, to host the property for you. My mum had remarried at this point, and Tim, my stepdad, said he would be like a host for my house. So then I thought, I don't even have to wait till I'm 18. I just do it now. So I bought a house, 21 Maryvale Road, bought it for 100 grand. It was worth 125. Bought it with a bridging loan, refinanced it the same day, pulled all the money back out. No one lent me any money apart from the bank.
Yeah.
And then rented it out as a HMO room by room. And that was when I was like, damn, this is like actually possible. And obviously it was hard after that because the whole credit crunch and the recession and everything. But that kind of gave me a taste. Just being able to say, that's mine, and I own it. As a teenager, was like a really good feeling. It gave me a buzz and a sense of confidence and self-belief that nothing else had done before that.
Yeah. So was that before the 100% mortgages? Because I know people around them were getting 125%. Yeah, 125%. So would that not have been an option, or it was just a reason why you went down that route of the buy next day refinance? Yeah,
I mean, to be honest, during that time, when I was a teenager and I was going on these courses, and they were telling me you can buy it below market value and then you can refinance it. I didn't actually get it.
You just did what they said.
I was just told, if you find a house that's 20% cheaper than it should be, pass it to us, and we'll, with our solicitors and broke wood. And as far as I'm concerned, I was just like, you know what? Like, when you turn the light switch on, you don't know how, well, I don't know how the light comes on. I just know if I do that, that happens. And it was the same. So I think in a way, my naivety and childlike belief actually helped me. And then it was like, oh, it works. Because in the world of business and property, everyone tells you how things can't be done, how difficult things are. If you speak to an accountant or a broker, like the broker that said to me, you've got to be 21. Everyone's a problem finder. And, you know, I think the fact that I was just being mentored and guided, I had a mentor called Tony, who I met at a business networking event called BNI. And I had people around me, and I paid them money, but they were just saying, do this, do this, do this. And I was just doing it like a remote control. They would tell me what I was doing it. And that sense of belief actually served me really well.
So you did your first deal then, okay?
So I know this story, and I know you've mentioned this story a few times. So I'm not going to dive into it into specifics, but essentially you bought what I think was a semi-detached house,
End of terrace, 2
house.
bedrooms,
2-bed. Bought it, renovated it, sold it, and made how much profit?
What the numbers? £26,000 profit. Is that right, Ollie? Yeah, 26,000. I'm only asking Ollie because we shot a video on it recently. But the key part I don't want to miss is between kind of doing this training and doing this first deal, there's a whole year of rejection, offers getting rejected, no idea what I was doing.
Yeah.
And a big part of it was my psychology as well. So for those that are probably figuring, we'll talk about the financing side of things in a minute. So as I left school, I actually went and worked as an estate agent, and I worked as a self-employed commission-only estate agent, because one thing I learned from Rich Dad Poor Dad is don't trade your money for time, get paid based on outcomes. And I thought, well, if I want to work in sales as an estate agent, I can learn about property, I can meet property investors, I can learn about negotiation and all of the skills, but I'm just pure commission only. So I eat what I kill, which means that, whatever I get paid, I deserve. So I did that to kind of save a bit of money. But throughout that process, and I also knew that this was one thing I learned from kind of that first property mentor and Tony Robbins as well, was probably where I actually learned this, was it's never about what resources you have, it's about how resourceful you are. So I knew, okay, maybe I don't have enough money for a deposit and a refurb, but I just knew if I can find a deal, I can be resourceful and I can just pull money in from somewhere to fund it. So I was looking for this deal, and it's going to offers rejected, and it was really starting to knock my confidence, and I had this really detrimental limiting belief that I thought, there's no deals in Coventry, it's hyper competitive, everyone's looking for the deals, it's impossible to kind of find something where there's a profit margin. And I really started to believe that, and when you believe that, you obviously blinkers come on and you stop looking for the opportunity. And it wasn't until I met some other guy who was basically doing like one deal a week in Coventry, and he was showing me around them, and for me that was just this massive light bulb moment where I realized, holy shit, okay, actually these deals are possible. And believe it or not, coincidentally, it was like a month later, a few weeks after that experience, that I then actually found and secured the first deal, which was completely run down 2-bedroom terraced house, which I think I made every possible mistake you can make. I made on that deal. But
and a lot of people don't realize that, and when people say the hardest deal is your first, that is what it is. It's the mistakes, and it's the trial and error, especially around finding your first deal. I remember I always tell people that before I got my first deal, I had a 4 or 5 month window where I went and saw over 150 houses.
Wow.
Like I literally, I wrote it down. I filled my whole Saturday up with going and viewing 8 to 10 houses.
Whenever we're coaching anyone, we literally set the expectation that it's going to be hard. But what I tell them to remember is it's hard until it isn't. And anything worth kind of pursuing in life, any success that you want, it is going to be hard, but it's meant to be hard. But the more you do of it, the easier it's going to get. So the first deal made, basically bought it with a 10% deposit, which is all the money I'd saved at the time, which was £8,000 or something, close to £9,000. Borrowed money from friends on just simple loan agreements, say, hey, give me £5,000 and I'll give you £6,000 back, or whatever it was. I can't remember the interest. I didn't even know what probably an interest rate was, or a loan agreement. It was just like, lend me some money and I'll pay you some more back. Credit cards, living paycheck to paycheck. I remember I'd literally get paid at the end of the month, go to the bank, withdraw some money in cash, because all the builders wanted to get paid in cash, and then go meet the builders and pay them, and then I'd have no money left for the month. So did that one. Took far too long, to like 6 months to do a simple refurb, which is
really,
it's comical.
So when you said you made mistakes, you really made mistakes.
I remember completing on it, and then somebody asked me, when did the builders start? I was like, I don't even know how many builders. Like, who do I call first? I didn't know what a first fix was, a second fix. I honestly knew nothing. I didn't know what asbestos was. Turns out there was asbestos in the ceilings because of that Artex. But and again, a lesson for everyone listening: the value in the first deal is not in the money you make, but it's in the lessons you learn. They are way more valuable than any profit.
You bought this first house, your first investment property. That was alongside your job. talk me through that deal, that first property. What was the process? How did you find it, and what happened?
So the process was, I guess you could possibly say slightly uneducated, but back then, I say back then as if it's like a long time ago, it was like 2019, but even then there wasn't the resources that there are here in 2023, right? There's just not the videos weren't online. There was some information online, but it was mainly kind of jaded, tired landlords. And I was just trying to navigate the process of buying a property, a buy-to-let property on my own. But I was convinced that it was either going to be South Wales, it was going to be Liverpool or Manchester. Looked at numerous different areas, but I really honed in as Liverpool being somewhere that I wanted to invest. I saw it being closely behind the growth that Manchester had seen, and I thought it was the future. That north-south divide's going to close up. So I started doing trips up here, and didn't know what BRR was, didn't know what HMOs were. I kind of knew what HMOs were from estate agency days, but never even thought about doing them myself. Just thought, I want to get buy-to-let, buy it, rent it out, and that's what I did. One thing I knew that I did right and knew that I wanted to do was just buy at the right price, because I always saw that in estate agency. You can buy at the right price. So just made sure that I did lots of viewings, made lots of offers, and I think one thing from my estate agency days, which I still carry forward now to working with estate agents, working with other sources, is I know how to negotiate. I can read people, but it's because I've been on the other side. I've been the estate agent. I know what they feel like when they get an offer, and they've got to take it to the owner, and how to position that.
Yeah. So then you found this house, you got it agreed. The renovation, was there much to do with that? Was it was quite a simple project?
I'm slightly trying to recall now, but it's about £600. But it was like, I went up there for a couple of days with my parents, slept on a blow-up bed on the sitting room floor, and we just did it all. Again, ever so grateful, because they just throw their hands in and they'll do it. I'm like, Mum, Dad, I'm buying a house in Liverpool. They thought I was nuts, obviously. Why would you buy a house up there 5 hours away? I was like, this is what I'm doing, and they're like, fine. Well, let us know if you want some help when it completes. So we all came up, and basically it was kind of just fixing a lot of odd maintenance issues. It was plastering, it was painting, it was all those kind of different things.
I had a couple of little side hustles, little jobs that I did through high school. They were kind of how I was able to buy my first flat when I was 18. Then I did go to uni. I got
just before you carry on, that you said that you kind of brushstroked over that. You had a couple of side hustles that enabled you to buy a flat.
Times have changed, and I still think this is possible, right?
Yeah. What kind of side hustles are we talking
The
about?
main one was pressure washing driveways.
Yeah. Okay.
So, and I mean, that still can make you a ton of money today. My little nephew's been doing it recently as well, which is fun to see him kind of doing that. But so that over the summer holidays and stuff, you could make a couple £100 a day. And the first flat that I bought, like, full disclosure, I think it was like 60 grand. I bought it on like a personal mortgage, 95% loan to value.
Okay.
5% is 60K.
Okay,
We're not talking about a huge sum of money here, right? But I mean, equally, if you don't own any property, I think buying your own home is a great first investment. Maybe you flip it, or you live there for a couple of years and then get consent to let and move on. Like, you can buy a relatively cheap house, even around Manchester. You go on Rightmove, you filter for houses under 100 grand, 120 grand. They exist. Maybe you can't live in Didsbury or in Charlton, but get to buy your house there at some point down the line. I think that makes sense. And again, there's more and more mortgages coming back to the market now post-COVID. So there's some good options there. Like, you don't need a ton of money. You can use the system, and if it's your own home, you don't pay capital gains tax when you sell it on the uplift and stuff like that. So your own home can be a good place to start.
I hope you found this video helpful, and remember, if you are getting started in property and you want to learn some of the property fundamentals, then I have created a property fundamentals course that I know you're going to find incredibly valuable. We're going to go through all sorts of different things to lay the foundations to help you start on your property journey, and the course is completely free. So find the link in the description, click on it, fill in your details, and get started. I'm looking forward to be able to help you out.